and welcome back. I have something so fun and easy to show you today, and you can actually do this with leftovers from whatever big family dinner you've done or whatever. Okay, so you've probably heard of chipped beef gravy over toast or something like that, right? But I'm not such a big fan of that. However, I like the concept. So during this week that we've been showing you roux, cream sauces, and gravies, I wanted to bring you this one because this really is a fun thing to do. All right, so I've got leftover ham, and us being a large family, we have ham left over. We do ham probably more than a lot of people do, so I've usually got some leftover ham whenever I do a big family dinner like that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to cut the fat down, and there's still some meat on some of this, but I'm going to pull this fat down to a more usable size in the pan for what we need it for, because we're going to take the fat off of that and render that down for our drippings for our gravy. All right, we are going to go ahead and get that in the pan. We've got our pan on medium. Remember, we want to render this down. We don't want to burn it. So we need to watch our temp on our rendering there. If you have a ham that doesn't have a lot of fat on it, you may need to use some reserve drippings. Basically, a gravy, you're thinking more of what you're going to do from meat drippings with a gravy. So like ham drippings, sausage drippings, bacon drippings, even beef drippings. Roux, remember that your roux is basically your fat plus your flour, okay? So whatever kind of fat that you have, it can be just butter, as you have seen. Hopefully you've seen that video on the bechamel. The roux to the cream sauce to the bechamel. If you haven't seen that video, guys, make sure you check that out, because I go through step by step the process in how to start your roux, know when it's ready, build that into a cream sauce, take that cream sauce, build that into a bechamel. Okay, and it's just one step after another to the completed product, and you can stop anywhere in between for whatever you need it for at that moment. Look at that, you guys. Oh my goodness sakes. Look at that. As you can see, that fat is rendering down. A lot of good drippings off of that. We're going to be able to put that in the fridge and save that for later too. Guys, look at how much is being rendered off of that. So amazing. And this can be used for so many things. I'm really excited about this. You know, I'm that frugal person. I don't like to waste anything if it has a good use or multi-purpose. Some of these are just about ready to come out. Now, I've got my fat rendered out of all of those pieces. We are going to save those over here. So we're going to drain those on paper towel so that they can get nice and crispy. Okay, now we're going to set that to the side. Now, because in the process, because our pan got so dark, we're going to move this to a little bowl to wait and clean our pan and then start fresh so that we don't have those really, really dark bits in there, because that's a little bit darker than what we want for this. Okay guys, now we've cleaned our pan, so that's all ready to go. Back in goes our reserve drippings. And guys, now this one depends on how much gravy you're making. This is going to be enough for about 2 people on this one. Generous 2 people, okay? All right, again, and our burner is on about medium to medium high now, because we're going to start making our gravy. Okay, now, because I don't want this to just be the ham flavor, I want a little bit of that richness and satiny flavor that comes from using a little bit of butter. So a scant tablespoon of butter into about 3 tablespoons of dripping. Now you noticed how when we reserved those drippings, I pulled out a lot of those dark brown bits. You can strain it if you want to. That's not a problem at all. When you hear that sizzle and you see it bubbling, it's ready for the flour. Now you're going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons. And that's approximate. Remember that you have to add enough to give you that sandy texture. Now see that? See that? We need just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Add about a teaspoon at a time. Now it's beginning to clump together for us like that. When it begins to do that, you know you've got the right amount of flour. We're going to add just the teensiest bit more there. There we go. And that's what we want. Now remember guys, if you've seen the video on how to make a roux, then you'll know the color stages to go to. Okay, I want a lot of good flavor on this, so I'm going to bring this roux down to a nice deep caramel color. See that? See how it's taking on more and more color? That's what we want. Okay, now it's ready for the milk. Now, I'm not adding all of my milk at the same time. I want to add enough to really get that going and get those lumps stirred out. I want to round the rim, around the side and the edges of your skillet. And it's going to get that kind of pasty look. That's good. And again, guys, this is a wonderful thing to use that shelf-stable milk for, because if you haven't already opened it, if you're bringing it in to your kitchen right out of the cabinet or the pantry, it's already room temperature. And that's the best place to start from when you're making a cream sauce or a gravy. And guys, don't forget, keep some milk in reserve, because if it starts getting too thick on you, don't panic. Just add a little bit more milk and cook that through. And notice I'm scraping down the sides with my whisk. You just turn it vertical. Just turn your whisk vertical like that, and then bring it back to where you're bringing that from the sides in toward the center. And those nice half pan whiskings will keep it moving from the edge of the pan all the way through the middle. That's just about where we want it. Gonna add a little bit more milk. And see? This is what we're wanting, this nice, beautiful, satiny sauce. Lump-free. Okay, now at this point in time, we're ready to check for our seasonings. And on this sauce, this gravy, all we're doing is salt and pepper. Yep, texture's good, satiny smooth, but it does need a little salt. Half teaspoon, remember our salt, our ham that's going into this is salty. So we don't want to add too much salt, because we don't want to overwhelm that on the finished product that's going onto the plate. A little bit of fresh cracked pepper. Stir that in. All right, into our gravy goes our cubed ham, and we're gonna stir that in and let that sit in that nice hot gravy to warm all the way through. Time to get it plated. All right, oh my goodness sakes. And remember that we had these wonderful crispy bits that we did where we rendered that fat out. Well, those are gonna come in handy because those are going on top. Yay, I cannot wait to taste this, you guys. This is like it's kind of like a comfort food, you know, from childhood kind of thing, even though my mom never made this. I don't know, it still feels that way to me. That is so good. You guys gotta try this. And you know what? You know what else? This is a very budget-friendly dish. And you can make it with leftovers and what you got in your kitchen. Boom, bam, done. There you go. I hope you guys give this a try. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do that for us, you guys. It's helping us out so much, and we appreciate it. And leave me a comment and tell me how it's working for you. Love to hear from you. Well, that's all for right now, and we'll see you next time on Things Tina Does.